In our last shift, we talked about recognizing the energy that we are in when we go to take action. So, recognizing when we are feeling that pressure to get things done, or we feel like we have to force our energy and effort into getting the task completed, or even going or seeing it all the way through. And recognizing that when we start to feel this pressure and this force, that it's okay to pause and to do something else to shift our energy and then come back to the task at hand. Because whatever energy that we are in is going to greatly impact the result that we experience. So today I want to dive in a little bit further into this concept and bring it all together, bring it all home for you, and what can happen when we don't stop and pause and shift our energy in the moment. Now, I want to tell you and be radically honest with you that this is hard to do, especially because we're conditioned and it's almost like muscle memory to just push through the hard thing, especially as entrepreneurs. We are literally told to just keep going, to push through the hard times. And I'm here to tell you that doing it this way usually ends up getting us a result that keeps us on the hamster wheel instead of propelling us forward. It leads to frustration. It leads to anger or bitterness or disappointment. And these are all our red flags that we have done something that is misaligned for us, that something was off during the process and we didn't listen and push through it anyway. And this is our energy, our body's way of telling us, hey, this is not the approach that we want to take. This is not going to get us the results that you are looking for. It's going to keep you on that hamster wheel. So when you push through and you start to feel these frustrations or you start to feel bitter, this doesn't mean that you're broken. It just means that these are red flags and it's trying to pause and stop you and say, hey, something needs to change. Whether that's the environment, it is the actual task at hand, it is the people that you are around or in relationships with. And it could even be as simple as the energy and mindset that you're in. But these are all our red flags. And a lot of times, us as human beings, with the pressure of society to just push through, it can be really, really hard with that kind of pressure to feel okay with pausing for a moment. But when we do, when we can pause and investigate and say, hey, wait a second, what's really going on here? What am I feeling inside of my body? This helps us to realign and readjust into more energetic flow. It helps us to tap into our intuition, which is never going to lead us the wrong way. May not make sense, but it's never going to steer you wrong. So when we pause, investigate, and actually create the shift, here's what else shifts: the end result, helping us to feel lit up, to feel satisfied, to feel peace, to feel success, maybe even surprised. When we experience these feelings, then we know that the approach that we took and the energy that we were in when we took that approach was all in alignment for us. It's not about what makes sense for other people. If it makes sense to you, I'm going to encourage you to experiment and lean into that. And that's what the shift is to experimenting with leaning into our intuition and following that as our guide, because our intuition will always lead us towards our green lights. And if you're struggling with this, don't worry, I've got you. Boundaries are going to be your best friend, because your boundaries are going to be what advocate for you, what stand up for you, so that you have the power to be able to move forward in your most aligned way by following your intuition. And yes, intuition, is a strategy that you can use inside of your business. And that kind of strategy is what is going to help propel you forward instead of keeping you on the hamster wheel. So look out for these red flags. They will start to show up, and the sooner that we can catch them in the happening of it, the less frustration and anger and bitterness and disappointment that we're going to experience on the day-to-day life. So this is the shift. When you feel these specific red flags, whichever one or multiple ones that you resonate with the most, let these be your red flags that you need to shift the energy that you are currently in before moving forward, even if that means putting off the task or responding the next day. So try this and see what shifts for you. Hi, I'm Kimberly Romano, Indian wedding photographer turned brand photographer and human design reader. Thank you for tuning into Shifted, the podcast that is here to spark a shift in you that creates big change in your energy, perspective, and direction. And if this episode sparked a shift in you, then subscribe and leave a review sharing what your shift was. Not only will this help others discover this podcast, but your shift can inspire them to have a shift of their own. Please remember, the content you hear in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as legal, health, or financial advice. For professional guidance, I encourage you to seek out a trusted expert near you. Thank you again for tuning into Shifted. Until next time, keep leaning into the shift.